Ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna get into maybe some of this in the future. Look at that great photo. That's our local historian in action. I'm gonna guess he's late 20s there. But I'm at his daughter Amanda's house right now. And Amanda had restored a home. How old is this home?
1907 or 1908.
So 115 or whatever years old. Pardon my math there. How many? So from 1907, this a lot of the door frames I think is original work that they had restored. And I'm just in her kitchen right now, and she has done an unbelievable job of this home. And I don't want to use the word jealous, but I'm a bit jealous of this. And this is the pantry area, and it just goes on and on. Like, Amanda is very, very astute in antiques and antique collecting. Her place is filled with it. And we'll be sharing some, just one of her little pieces of artwork today. I think we're at number 16 of the Mirami-histor-chi.
I'm just gonna ease it in there. Oh, I can ease it in anywhere. Yeah, we may come to the exhibition. That's when I'll pop that up.
Well. We're 13 seconds in. You know what, Raj? When I walked in today, I noticed the shirt that you're wearing. Maybe you should scoot a little bit closer to me. I like that. You've been styling. Since I've been back from Vancouver, I've noticed you got lots of stylish...
Yeah, but this shirt is half the age I am.
I love that shirt. It's a good one. I'm always a two-pocket guy, so Raj has two pockets. Anytime, if any of you fans out there, like, we have a big fan base now, if you guys ever want to buy me a shirt, I like this style, but it has to be two pockets.
Well, this is notes, and this here is emergency to the nose.
Emergency to the nose. So, okay, so the video I just showed, we opened up with Raj out in his garage, chopping wood. He didn't know I was filming. And then I was just over at Raj's daughter's today, Amanda, one of our sponsors here. We'll show one of her pieces of work, showing through her home. And the multi-talented Amanda, like, her place is really amazing over there. It goes on and on and on. You should see the design in there. It really is special. Okay, Raj, we had a couple of days without filming, and I've had a bunch of people waiting for the next video. So at least we got some family members that are enjoying our little 1988. I think we did 1987?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're just going to go on with the year after, 1988. And again, the local historian, Mr. Roger Como, Canada's biggest puck hog. Roger has documented decades and decades of Miramichi's history, the local history, and the surrounding area for decades and decades via mostly newspaper clippings, brochures, pamphlets, what have you not. I'm the nephew, he's the uncle. I'm home from Vancouver. It's been a few months now. My father passed away, so I've been spending some time here. And this project has been really, really, really therapeutic for myself. And it's humbling me. We're going back. I'm being reminded of the value of the small town, especially this place that I was born and raised in. And we're just having fun here. So we're not pretending to be any special experts or historians. There's going to be lots of mistakes in our language and
No, not lots, some.
some, and then maybe so we're not, we know that, so we're not going back, we're not editing or anything like that. We're sitting here, we're doing a project for ourselves, and it's been a good experience. And so Raj has pulled out 1988 today, folks. And what?
I'm going to start off with a big...
Oh yeah, since the Briar just finished. And you know what, Raj? Just to be transparent, I'm 47 years old, okay? See that bad boy right there?
Yeah.
I have big zit on my nose, and even at 47, I'm still caring about getting a zit. I don't want
Too much chocolates.
And I was noticing the other day that, like, I was gonna ask Raj, I was like, I got to shave here soon. But I was saying, you know what? I've never ever seen you or your brother, my father, with beards. Like you guys have decided to go through your entire male lives without getting real and letting that all just hang out.
Well, I'm gonna have to dig out a photo of mine.
Yeah, you had a beard?
And then my mother approached me one day, and she walked right by me. She said, "Get rid of that," and she never even stopped.
And he would have been in his late 60s. So there you go. He was still afraid of his mother in his 60s, folks.
Okay, we're going to start out with this big victory here.
Okay. What do you got here, Raj? It says Adams, King of New Brunswick men's curling. And it's curling time here in Canada. The Scotties just finished. Rachel Holman of Ontario won that.
Well, before you read, just
okay.
give them a colored version.
And here's a colored version. And Gushu just won a 6 as a skip at a Newfoundland. Amazing talents these guys have. Look at this beautiful colored photo. I will read this. It says, Hometown Heroes. The Newcastle men's curling rink, skipped by Steve Adams, captured the New Brunswick Labatt Tankard Men's Curling Championship on Sunday in Newcastle with a 5-4 win over Wade Blanchard of St. John's Thistle St. Andrews Curling Club. The championship is the first won by a Newcastle rink in 39 years and the third in the town's history. And it was Wade McDonald, Steve Adams, Greg Gallivan, Roger Gallant. So right on. And I was telling some of my friends, Raj, that if I'm in the Miramichi next winter, I am going to look into curling.
Well, that's a more thorough write-up on the big victory.
Right on. Congratulations.
Yeah.
Congratulations, boys. I've watched a lot of the Scotties, and I watched a substantial amount of the Briar too, Raj. Oh. And the skill level in this game, it just keeps on escalating. It's actually incredible. You go try to do it and then watch how amazing they are, like any sport.
So we mentioned this young lad last year.
Okay.
So this is what's happening down south.
Okay, so remember, this is 1988. This is from the February edition. And we have our local baseball player, Richard Leggett. There's another update on what he was up to back in 1988. And Richard Leggett, Pittsburgh Pirates, Rick Leggett of Chatham recovered from a shaky start in 1982 to record an 8-8 win-loss season. This year, he hopes to be assigned to either the Lynn Mass team or Hawaii. And that was like AAA. So right on. I never ever did know too much about his stats, but I remember he came back and pitched for the Ironman a little bit later on in his career when he came back. Didn't he not? Yeah. I do remember that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
True.
Well, this is a funny one. Okay, so this right here, can you imagine now having your, this is like paparazzi here, folks. Can you imagine now having your photos published on a little frolic in the snow? And the reason that this is cut out is because it happens to be Roger's first cousin. I will be phoning this woman's mother, Ida, Ida's close to 90.
Oh yeah.
Ida's amazing. She was Roger's So Roger's father, Romeo's brother Norman, Ida was his wife. She's so amazing. Anytime we have to go to Moncton or do something, we always check her out.
It just happens that somebody from the newspaper was around the park at the time.
Oh, yeah.
And I must have seen them coming along and snap.
And they were a dip in the snow. There's nothing like a Sunday afternoon stroll through the park. In this case, along a snowy trail in Fundy National Park. Monktonians Bruce Moody and Jackie Cummo, that's Roger's first cousin, enjoy the brisk air and a little playful fun with a splash down for a soft landing. I'm going to actually get in touch with Jackie to tell her to watch this episode. So Jackie, look at that. That's just wonderful.
Okay.
I spoke to Jackie at my father's funeral reception, actually. Oh, this looks cool.
So we're going to do 3 or 4 photos where these two were kind of popular. And,
okay.
On the river?
Yeah, so this is a local, they're husband and wife, eh? Or no.
No.
Connie and Paul.
No, no.
Oh yeah, they're not. This is a local folk duo, Connie and Paul. And Connie is a nurse, and she worked with my mother, and she's so beautiful a person, and her voice is just angelic. The Miramichi musical duo, Connie and Paul, are nominated in the Roots Traditional Recording category of the New Brunswick Music Awards. Winners will be announced October 9th. So that's Connie and Paul right there. I did a video years ago for my mother's 50th birthday, and I went into the hospital to get some interviews for Mom's old co-workers. And this woman right here, Connie, she sang happy birthday to my mother, and it was quite lovely.
So then they started making some tapes.
Okay. Tape launched at reception. And folks, this is the 80s. Tapes were still a thing. There's Connie and Paul. The tape recorded by the Miramichi River Folk, Paul McGraw, Connie Doucette, and Susan Butler was launched during a reception Saturday at St. Mary's Parish Center. So right on, Connie and Paul and Susan Butler.
Yeah. So we have two similar clippings of the launching of the Mystical Magical Miramichi with Susan Butler.
Okay.
Maybe this picture might be
Okay.
clearer.
So the Mystical, that was the name of their album. The Mystical Magical Miramichi. There's Susan Butler right there. There's Connie Doucette and Paul McGraw, is it? So right on.
Yeah.
The Miramichi River Folk expect their first, that was the name of their little group, the River Folk, their first cassette, The Mystical Magical Miramichi, to be released sometime in the next week. The cassette, featuring 10 folk songs, will cost $10. Members of the group, Paul McGraw, Connie Doucette, and Susan Butler. The Mystical Magical Miramichi, and again, we live on a river that is a saltwater river coming in from the northeast Atlantic Ocean in New Brunswick, and it has, there is a soul in this town. So the river is a powerful thing, and we all feel it every day.
Wendy Daly did more than pitch softball.
Okay. We've mentioned Wendy Daly before. Now, Wendy is right in the center, right where my finger is. And Wendy is a Hall of Fame softball pitcher, international caliber. She's won many games and has performed very well. And here's a photo of Wendy. And I'm going to read the caption because this is new to me. Snowball at Curtis Park. Winners of the D event in the Snowball Bonspiel are from left to right: Sandra Harding, Josephine Howe, Wendy Daly, Gwen Carter, and Kenny Lloyd. He was the manager of Sobeys in Chatham. So whatever a snowball, I'm sure it was like a kind of a snowball fight or something like that. So right on.
Okay.
Small town papers, bringing community together.
So this is almost a full page of Willie Fair's poetry.
Oh, wow.
And this one here, his poetry is all about welcoming Frank McKenna back.
Is this one poem?
Oh, one poem except this corner.
Okay. I'll read a couple of verses. So we mentioned a guy named Willie
Maybe
Farah.
Might be here, might be on.
Okay.
Yeah.
We mentioned a guy named Willie Farah before, and Roger knew of him. I did not. And he was a local guy that used to be part of the
Sanatoria Club.
the Sanatoria Club, where they were going in and entertaining sick people and whatnot. But this Willie Farah apparently was quite a character. He did some comedic poetry, and he used to speak at events all over the Miramichi. Frank McKenna, the local boy that became premier, this is a poem. This whole page is a poem that Willie Farah wrote on him. And we'll just find a couple of little stanzas here. Now, let's went back a leetle bit. Das Pa 2 tree 4 year. Da way your party bitch and wine. We almost plug our ear. Those comment that you liberal Mac was anything but vague. To them, the NBHP Frank was worse than had a plague. So, okay, so that's my first time reading. I would have to practice that, actually. So there is a little bit of a vernacular there, and the spelling is, he's pronouncing words like kind of like in a French accent I'm getting.
Oh, yeah.
But anyway, I could see the humor in that. And once again, that's from 1988, a local guy, well-known kind of a comedian type of guy, a performer that used to do poetry, and it was published for everybody to read. And those times seem like they're long gone. And we, you know, people are still, don't get me wrong, people are still doing amazing things, but just in that community where, you know, it went to one paper and everybody was reading it, those times seem like they're very far off.
So this is a big championship here for
okay.
AAA Chatham Bantam.
Okay. The AAA Bantam Ironman hockey team end a good year. Okay. That is the stats. Here is their team photo. They are the provincial Pure Later champions. I am looking forward to reading this roster out. There they are as a close-up for any of you people that know anybody. And on that roster, their leading scorer, folks, was Van Burgess. He came from the Air Force Base. His father actually played Rogers' old-timer stuff, Andy. And Van was he was unreal. He was scoring goals from center ice with a slap shot, I remember. Denny Schofield had 100 points that year in 67 games. Ricky Stymus, another Logieville boy, had 93 points. And you know what, Raj? Ricky Stymus was a guy that kind of went in a little bit under the radar, and he didn't prolong his Bantam career.
Yeah.
Or his hockey career so much,
yeah.
But he was an unbelievably hard-working hockey player. Then we had a Blakely, Jay Blakely. I don't know the first names because it only has a letter. Sean Donovan, I think it was. Scott Daly, Marty McNamara, Mark Sustainus, one of the Guimons. Now there's 5 brothers. There's Jarrett, Jeremy, Jason, Jonathan, and Jeff. And I think this J was Jared.
Oh, Jeremy.
Oh, it was Jeremy, sorry. Yeah, Jeremy was probably the most talented of the bunch. He was a captain, I think, of the Tommies. Bobby Moore, Terrio. What was his first name? C. Terrio. Then it was Dennis McLean, who ended up being, he was a defenseman. He ended up being an honorary pallbearer at my father's recent funeral. And S. McDonald, don't know. Mike Jazowinski, I remember him. Sean Sullivan. David Walsh, Derek Watt, I remember him playing hockey. He was a defenseman. He had a cannon from the point. Claude Schofield, Chris McLean, and I think it's Dougie Trevors. And wow, they won a Bantam championship in 87-88, Raj. Mm-hmm. Another team from the Miramichi taking home a provincial title.
Yeah.
Wow. Remember Van Burgess?
Okay.
He was kind of a prodigy around here.
So I think this is what we were searching for. We'll show the team first before you do a little reading.
Okay. Here's another Miramichi team that took home a championship in 1988. And this one is close to me, since one of the guys on this team is married to my sister. This is the 1988 MVHS Palamu. They captured the Big Six New Brunswick High School Hockey crown. And this is when high school hockey was rough and very competitive. And there's some really, really excellent athletes on this team. Not only hockey players, but a lot of good baseball players. And this team here, they won it, folks. And I think they were like just by far the best team in the province. And we will... Okay, it doesn't have our... Oh, the roster's there. I'll read the roster out. Yeah. Okay, so we have Jeff Black, Wade Jardine, folks. Wade's son is now playing Major Junior. Max, and he's a fine young gentleman. Jason Driscoll, Todd Wood, Andrew Donovan, Mike Bushy, Early Sherrard, and Mike Dunnett. Mike Dunnett was an all-star goaltender who is arguably Miramichi's greatest ever shortstop. Arguably. Back row, Mike Wood was the coach. Gary Wood was also a coach. There's an S. Smallwood, he doesn't say his first name. Patrick Holste, Willis Hare, Todd Morris, Jamie Wood, whose son is drafted in the top 10. I think he's a top 10, or he's a first rounder anyhow. Jamie Wood's son, he just played for the recent Team Canada at the World Juniors. John Can, they used to call him Hatchet, big defenseman, home run hitting in baseball, and a big brute on defense in hockey. Stephen Malpe was their star player. He went on to play some high-level college. I think he went to Yale, or he went to an Ivy League school. He probably led the province in scoring that year. Tibor Kazmir. Greg Cassidy. Now, Greg Cassidy is my sister's husband, and he is, along with my other sister Vicky's husband, one of the greatest brother-in-laws you could ever ask for. Jay Allison, Sean Ingersoll, Mike Mitchell, Keith Richardson, and Robert Stewart. And there's a picture of Greg Cassidy right there. He was on that team. And I remember, Raj, the first time I ever met Greg, he came down to our house. He was driving a 1967 Ford Mustang, red. I think his father had it. And that's not Greg's style. That was just the car that was in the driveway, so he drove it down. He didn't care. And I remember I was a young guy, and I was out in the yard, and I had a football. He came outside the door on the step, and I threw him the football, and he caught it easy, and he threw me a toss that was as tight of a spiral as you could ever imagine. So I was like, okay, this guy's got some game. And Greg is a really excellent guy. His 3 boys, my sister's 3 boys, they all played sports, hockey, baseball, and now, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree.
Well, it was a great coverage by the paper to get such an excellent photo of the team on the...
Excellent photo.
Yeah.
And you know what, Raj? Thank you for continuously reminding me of the work that the paper was doing. Miramichi Valley wins its first New Brunswick hockey title, so congratulations, guys. They had a really good group of athletes and when Greg and those guys were coming through.
Now we're going to focus on the backside.
Okay.
On the Harkins.
Okay. And then on the backside of that, not to just stick with the hockey team, Harkins captures provincial title. So there's a Harkins team, also a Newcastle school. And at this time, that would have been probably a middle school. Oh, there's Roger's phone. I might just pause this right now. We'll get right back to you with the Harkins team.
Must be a teacher.
Oh, yeah. So Raj just handled a big phone call, folks, and you should hear that man on a telephone. It's just like unbelievably smooth. He knows how to get rid of somebody quicker than anybody I've ever seen in my life. Okay, let's get back. Let's get back to that Harkins team. So Harkins used to be the high school in Newcastle. It was the junior high school at this time, and this group of kids right here, they won the junior high school provincial title, and on that team we have, the final, they smoked Sackville in the finals, 50-16. So anyway, they were on their way to the Eastern Canadians, and we have Sarah Hutchison. She's one of my sister's friends. She is an extramural nurse, I think, right now. Sandra Morrison, Terry Parley, Nada Stewart, Pam Stewart. I remember Pam playing against my sister growing up. Jody Carroll, Emily Hanna. In the back row, Mary Jane Hare, Stacy Parks, Shelley Wood, Kim Stewart, Lori McWilliams, I always remember that name, Lexi Hutchison, and Coach Jim Graham. So right on, girls. Another provincial title from the Miramichi area.
Now, you keep stressing history.
Yes.
So this is history being provided by one of our own local guys.
Okay. Fraser plans second video of Logieville. Andrew Fraser at work with his video camera. So this was a Logieveller, a local guy, doing some history projects, trying to document what was going on in the one of Miramichi's little communities here. And there's an old picture. There he is at work. And oh, how times have changed now. People are just telephones, and this is what we're doing. So this old photograph dating back to 910 is one of Andrew Fraser's video, Logieville at Miramichi. Susie Flaherty and his aunt Kathleen Fraser are shown in front of the A&R Logie Company Limited's first store, which was turned from a house to a store to a house. It no longer exists, and neither does Logieville's first school, shown in the background. So there's an old photo from Logieville of the Logie enterprise. That was a store to a house to a store to a house, folks. It no longer exists. Thank you, Andrew, for doing that.
So Andrew is the brother of Father John Fraser.
Okay, so Father John Fraser, so Father John Fraser was a noted Catholic priest in the area.
Yeah.
And was he also writing books too?
Oh, not that I know of.
No,
yes, he did put out a book here.
A history of something.
Yeah, 4 or 5 years ago. Yeah.
Oh, right on. I remember Andrew, but not so well.
Yeah. Now we're going really back into history here. This is to honor the Flieger family in Chatham.
Okay.
About a boxer back in the day.
Okay.
So I just highlighted some things that I think they're worthy of mentioning.
Okay, so a Boxing Hall of Fame. Arnold Flieger, latest addition to Boxing Hall of Fame. So here's a local guy, Arnold Flieger. He was being honored in the Boxing Hall of Fame, probably New Brunswick. I didn't read this through. That's a picture of him when he was younger in action. Oromocto's most recent addition to the Canadian boxing. It was a Canadian Boxing Hall of Fame.
Well, they mention Oromocto because he eventually...
That's where he went.
He went there later on, but all his beginnings were in Chatham.
Okay. Arnold Flieger, in the days when his appearance in the ring meant a lot of worry for his opponents. Arnold Flieger was born in Chatham, New Brunswick in 1927. He was infatuated with boxing. When he was 16, he remembers the head of the local boxing club giving him his start. That guy's name was Klein Cassidy, who we mentioned at one point earlier.
Yeah.
And then in 46, he decided to go after the big times. He left the army and returned to Chatham to become a professional. One of his workouts, he'd be swimming across the river, it says.
After the workout, he'd swim across the river.
Oh, yeah. When I was done working out, I would swim across the Miramichi River. Oh, wow, he was in good shape. Flieger, however, was not alone when he worked out or went swimming. In fact, he spent a lot of the time training with one of the greatest boxers this province has ever known, the fighting fisherman, Yvon Durell. And then in the wintertime, they'd get together and have big smelt fry down in Bay St. Anne. In the meantime, Flieger's mind and time were spent preparing for his first pro fight. It was against a lad from Logieville, Leo Como. He used a combination which featured good right crosses and left jabs. He won an easy 4-round decision. So that's really excellent. You know, a local guy, Canadian Boxing Hall of Fame, Arnold Flieger. And, you know, it's really excellent, Raj, that you...
You got to continue.
Okay, you want me to keep going?
Yeah.
Okay. The move to 10 rounds also brought with it a chance to travel all over Eastern Canada. Arnold would find himself fighting in areas such as Sydney, Glace Bay, Moncton, Stinktown, and Toronto. Now, this Toronto, I keep hearing this mentioned. Is that a big place or what? I don't know anything about it. He remembers well the night he fought before 5,000 fans at Maple Leaf Gardens. Wow. And beat Brantford, Ontario's Gordon Wallace. In 1950, he became the middleweight champion of New Brunswick when he beat St. John's Carl White to take the title. In 1951, he TKO'd Ace McCluskey of Dartmouth in the 9th round of scheduled 10-rounder. McCluskey at the time was middleweight champion of Canada and former champion of the Maritime Provinces. Now his last fight, and you know what? Thank you, Raj. Like, look at what Raj did. Like, you know, he goes through articles, highlights some things. This man right here never stops. He just going to bed at night thinking about what he... Now, his last fight, his biggest moment, however, occurred near the end of his career in the early 50s when he stepped into the ring against his old training buddy and then middleweight champion of Canada, Yvon Durell, the fighting fisherman. Now, the whole smelt fry thing, that was long gone. These guys were going to go toe-to-toe. It was the idea of the promoter, Dode Daly. The first round, we felt each other out, says Flieger. In the second, I had my right hand down just a bit. He came in with a left hook and knocked me out. As it turned out, this was the fight which ended Flieger's career. I figured there was no sense in going on if I couldn't beat Darrell. And just like a good Miramichi boy, the next week was they went for another smelt fry together. Oh, right on, Raj. That's really, really excellent. Winners in Logieville, folks. Here is another Logieville school photo. Look at these kids right here. I know this kid right here. Winners in Logieville. Award winners in Logieville Winter Games in the Level 1 category were from left, Ricky Gray, Philip McDonald, Monique Robichaud, and Sarah Mott. And these are just kids. Now this kid here, I just visited his family down in Salt Lake City on a cross-country tour, and he works half the year in Alberta as a hunting guide. And then he comes down for the other half and works for his brother Gary's metal fabrication business. And right on, and Monique was a neighbor, a top athlete. She geared into a top athlete, as did Sarah Mott, folks. So right on, Raj.
Another batch.
4 award winners. Look at this group right here. Another batch from the Logieville 1988 class. Everybody on the Miramichi is going to recognize these 2 people right here for sure. And we have competing in the Level 4 category of the Logieville Winter Games and receiving awards were Stacy Savoy, Jennifer Stevens, Wendell Doak, and Brian Kingston. And Brian, the son of Leonard and Susan, he comes from the local Kingston family that gives a lot back to their community and has had a very excellent business for many, many decades. And here is Canada's #1 real estate agent right here, Jennifer Stevens. If you guys are looking to get rid of to buy a place, local Logieville girl Jennifer Stevens will hook you up. Right on, Raj. Oh, here's another one right here. Okay. We have a photo right here, folks. Now, my first instinct is that I know who that kid is, and I'm going to start reading. Maybe I'm wrong about that. We have highest points. Kevin Doyle, Grand Knight, Father Egan Council, Knights of Columbus, Nelson Miramichi presents Andy, that's who I thought it was, Andy McTavish. He's one of my best friends, with the regional award for highest points in the Knights of Columbus basketball free throw competition. I guarantee you I will be texting Andy McTavish right after this episode and telling him what point to look on. I wonder if he remembers this photo. Andy's a great guy living in Halifax, Nova Scotia. I'm going to have a coffee with Andy this weekend. I'm driving down to Kentville to visit some old university friends, Raj, here on the old east coast of Canada.
Yeah, so back in '88, there's a couple here.
Yeah.
We're over in Europe.
Okay.
Read that, and we can finish it off right here.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Maybe these 2 here.
Okay, so those 2 paragraphs?
The top one
Okay.
and those 2 there.
Okay. So Bed and Breakfast House, Joey and Linda Doucetts. Doucetts follow European tradition. Idea for B&B came from Europe. So I wonder, this is a photo from a local couple, went to Europe, got inspired. I think I remember this place. This is the one over in Newcastle, I think. And so here's what the couple looks like. Bed and Breakfast House, Joey and Leanne Doucette. In 1984, Joey and Leanne Doucette spent 8 months in Europe, and they stayed a good deal of the time at homes which offered a bed and breakfast. Great atmosphere. I used to work for tourism, she says, and bed and breakfast seemed to be catching on really fast, and especially like places like Nova Scotia. So we couldn't see any reason why it wouldn't work. So in September '85, they bought an elegant old 2-story home in Nelson, Miramichi, fixed it up, and then opened the Nelson one, and opened it up. Miramichi Manor Bed and Breakfast is the name. We had a great season, Leanne said. Joey agreed. Yes, we were fairly busy. We had a good year. 400 people visited them that first year, and they loved it. And I think, is that along the water, like near Beaubeer? I don't know exactly, but that's really cool.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That was one of my beginning projects in Vancouver. Me and I kind of was working with a person to create a little Airbnb place.
Yeah, so that's in Nelson, Miramichi.
Yes.
Like you said, along the water, yeah.
I think it's along the water, and my friend actually lives right near there. I think that's the old governor's. Is Is that the government? No, maybe not.
It'd be handy there.
Right.
So it's a little journey up to Renews.
Okay. Carter's Country Store, the grand opening in Renews. Anybody that was traveling that bumpy freaking highway between Newcastle and Renews that was concrete, and I was on it last week, and it's still pathetic for about 10 miles or so. Not that many. Carter's Country Store, the grand opening. This was 1988. Now, what are the grand opening specials? Well, with the purchase of 25 liters of gas or more, receive a 1 liter Pepsi free, plus in-house special draws. So the 1 liter of Pepsi, folks, there's only about 100 grams of sugar in that. I remember those 1 liter bottles at a glass. Those were fantastic. So right on, April 20th, 1988, the grand opening of Carter's Convenience. Roger Como cannot throw anything away. He is collecting everything. And look at that photo right back there where my finger is. That's Amanda's work, his daughter, a painting of Raj himself. What do you got there, Raj?
Oh, this is stuff from a sports banquet.
Okay.
And I really like this picture because I played against this wonderful hockey player.
Paul McLean?
No.
Oh, okay.
Once you read it.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, there's some sports banquet stuff happening in the Miramichi. I'm going to have to get myself acquainted with this right now. Chatham Honors top hockey players. And we have David Walsh of the Chatham Bantam Provincial Championship team chats with CRC Minor Hockey Banquet guest speaker, the Flying Father, Bill Brennan. He was one of the Flying Fathers, which was it was a collection of priests back they used to do a little tour kind of thing. They used to play around.
Oh, yeah.
The Ian Bailey Memorial Award was presented to Bernie Keating, right, for outstanding services to the Chatham Recreation Council. Presented the award as Paul McLean. Yeah. Paul McLean's was a local teacher for many years. He coached many teams. His boys all played hockey. One of his boys, Dax, became one of UNB's all-time leading scorers. David Walsh, still on the Miramichi. And look how good Father Brennan looked. Like, that looks like a nice curly head of hair, a top athlete. And I remember him being around, and I remember him playing with you guys.
Yeah, he was stationed in Chatham there for a bit.
Okay.
Yeah, and I played against him with the Flying Fathers there years ago at Newcastle.
Right.
And I've got a harder when they gave us all these little short rubber sticks.
Right on. So it was kind of like there would be like a benefit kind of thing.
Yeah.
It was to raise money.
Yeah.
And then it says the SO Awards. Adam A. Rep MVP Mark Barry. Mark is a pharmacy guy here in the Miramichi. He's done very well for himself. He was always a hard-working hockey player. And the most sportsman-like Shane McGregor. I was on this team, actually. And the most improved, Lawson McDonald. And Lawson was a goaltender. I think that was the first year he played goaltender. We went to the provincial finals. Like, we were in the top few teams. We went in Oromocto. I remember it, Raj.
Oh, yeah.
It was a great experience for myself. And thank you for saving this. Really excellent. And that's from April. And you know what? Just because I had mentioned this painting right here, that's Roger. We'll show that up close later on another future episode. So Roger's Amanda. This is one of our sponsors here. Amanda Como, Roger's daughter, is one of our sponsors. And types of things that she does. First of all, she works as a nurse up at the hospital. She has a fine arts degree from Mount Allison University, and she's a highly talented artist in many, many different disciplines. And here's a photo. Here's something that she drew for my dad. Oh, sorry for the glare. There, I'll try to get that glare off of there. And that's one of her works right there. And if you guys know what my father looks like, I don't have a picture to compare it with, but it's really well done, Amanda. And her pen is so good. And I was just over at her house. That's the house I showed at the beginning of this video. And I asked her a question. I was like, Amanda, how long will it take you to do something like this? And she's like, all humble. And I was like, well, is it 10 hours? And she's like, no, a couple of hours maybe. And I was like, do you enjoy doing it? And she said, yes, very much. So if, one of our sponsors here, Amanda, sorry for the glare, Amanda. I'm not doing that justice. That's pretty good there. if anybody out there that's watching this that wants a little piece done for one of their family members as a gift, then why not, contact Amanda Cummo and her pen. Sorry, Amanda, I just trying to sell you here. I don't even know if you're interested in doing it. But, so, thanks, Amanda, for sponsoring. And if you're wondering how a fine young woman like Amanda Cummo can sponsor a highfalutin show like this, well, she just does it by being a great cousin and a great daughter and a great citizen of our society. Okay, so Raj, what do you got there?
Well, we're showing 1988.
Yeah.
Well, this is a hockey team from 20 years before, 68.
Okay.
And they're kind of reuniting for a hockey game.
Okay. Iron Men to reunite for hockey game. Okay, so this is 1988 we're doing. This is an article from 68. And so 20 years ago, they're honoring a team at the Winter Carnival. And the old team will face off against some town council members, town employees, and some special guests at the Lord Beaverbrook Arena. And members of the 67-68 Ironmen were Greg Morris, Wayne McDonald, John Lorden, Bernie Keating, Duty McCarthy, Richard Kerr, David Kerr, Dave Butler, Lou Walsh, Dougie Bro, Joe Rashore, Reg Trevors, Richard Cuffy McLaughlin, Guy Sorrell, Bill Daly, Eddie McDermott, Hugh Moore, and Mike Morrison. So right on. And anybody that's been around in the Miramichi, especially on the Chatham side, will recognize most of those names. So Raj, thank you for sharing that.
So here's two guys here that have their way with the bowling ball.
Oh, right on. We got some bowling bandits on the roll. Roger Cummo, the local historian, once again is not disappointing us in the year of 1988. Bowling, what does that say? Bandits on the roll. Look at that great photo, folks. I think that's excellent work being done. The camera guy had to stand, or a girl had to stand right in the middle, get them in action. It reads, Gordy Burns, the local Labatt's representative, recently presented each member of the Miramichi Labatt's Bandits with a pair of bowling shirts. One red Olin's Expert, the other a blue Labatt's. Art Leggett and Wayne King practice, folks. And look at that Art Leggett. Look at that lefty right there, folks. Isn't that just a gorgeous looking photo of Mr. Art Leggett, the lefty, and Wayne King, Roger Cummo, the local historian, just keeps it coming. This man does not stop. I don't know how he packs in everything that he does in one day.
We have a retirement. A teacher retires.
Okay.
With gifts.
Oh, right on. In May 88, we have a teacher retiring here. I'll read this in a second. These are all coming to me new. And can you canoe? And William Sweezy, retired District 10 superintendent, gets quite a chuckle when viewing his retirement gift, a canoe portaged to the banquet table by David Bennell rear and David Bowie right. Well, right on. There's a great photo. David Bennell, he was a music teacher for so many years. Is he still working? I think he was up until recently. He was fun as a kid. He'd come... he'd be playing the piano, and all of a sudden he'd fall off his chair. And
oh my gosh, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, right on, Raj.
He played a big part in all the kids there for all those events.
Oh, yeah. Oh, this is a good one here. A merit award. I can recognize both of these people. We're getting a glare all of a sudden. So we got, this is Tracy Ross, and there's Jim Doyle, and I will read that. James M. Hill High School Principal James Doyle presents the Chatham Rotary Club Youth Merit Award to Tracy Ross of Logieville at a recent ceremony. The Rotary Award recognizes service, dependability, and leadership on the part of the recipient. And Tracy is a beautiful young woman growing up here. She played lots of sports. She was always very friendly, easy to talk to, and she did her, she had a great high school and university sporting career.
And speaking of awards.
Okay. Speaking of awards, here is a distinguished gentleman on the Miramichi, Doyle given honorary degree. There's Jim Doyle. He's done so much for our community over the years, especially in the education sector. And James Doyle was awarded an honorary Doctor of Laws degree Monday by St. Thomas University in Fredericton. He was the principal of James M. Hill Memorial High School. And this is a very long article about him, and it talks. James Doyle is a gentlemanly guy, and you know, pardon my ignorance, Raj. I haven't been around in a long time, but is Jim Doyle still with us, or? You know, that's a good question, right on. So, you know, my apologies for even bringing that up and us not knowing. We'll let you guys know in the next edition of Mirami-histor-chi. I'm going to press pause and grab a little drink of something here.
Okay. Well, they'll get a kick out of that.
Okay, we're back, and I picked out of Roger's fridge, and I think this is a lime sparkling water in Roger's fridge. Roger didn't even know it was there. This is from Josh, Roger's son's wife, Amanda Flero. And thank you, Amanda, for supplying me with some carbonated lime drink. Okay. And you know what? We have one here, folks. This is the Diet Pepsi Diet 7-Up CFAN Twisted Tunes contest winner. Look at this photo right here. This is one of our former neighbors, Frankie Robishaw. He worked for Pepsi. He's standing there awarding this out. David Robishaw, Chatham Head, was Twisted Tunes winner of a Satellite 200 jukebox. Wow, what a gift. In the photo, Frankie Robishaw, he's the sales supervisor for Cassidy Beverages. Winner David Robishaw and Bill Manzer, CFAN sales rep. Now, this David Robishaw that won it, he is not the brother of Frankie Robishaw. Mind you, Frankie does have a brother named David, who just happens to be Logieville's greatest shortstop that has ever come out of this. And I don't care. I didn't see all the eras, but I'm putting old David Robishaw up there against anybody. And he backhanded everything. So did Frankie. Oh, what do you got there, Raj?
These are kids back in '88.
Oh,
they
okay.
were dancing in the Carousel School of Dance.
Oh, wow.
So these are different productions, and some of the local kids that were.
I remember all this.
Yeah. So
okay.
Like a man would be in there.
Okay.
And Scotty would be in there.
Okay.
And I think in between.
So
Nothing there.
Okay, so anybody in the Miramichi will remember the Carasac School of Dance, and they used to do, you know, the kids would go up there, learn some dance moves. They were doing jazz and tap and all this stuff, and they would go up and do their practice sessions. I don't know how many times a week, but they would get and they put shows on. Yep. I remember being a kid going up and watching because Roger's a dancer, which, by the way, you don't know this yet, but this video kind of begins with a photo of you in your 20s dancing at Amanda's place. I showed that photo. So Scotty, Roger's oldest son, took on the tradition for a few years and was a part of this Carasac School of Dance. Look at this little pamphlet here. This is from one of their shows. This is one of the programs from their shows. And not only was Scott Como involved with this, so was Aaron Weeks, and Lori Kelly of Logieville, and Haley Weeks, and Jennifer Matchett, and Shannon Matheson, and Alexis Smith, and Catherine Ross, and Kristen Pinsett, and Dana Hickey, who happens to be the wife of former Major League Baseballer Jason Dixon, and Marlene Peters, and Stephanie Bruce, and Ashley Cripps, and Tina Hickey, who happens to be a local entrepreneur that has an esthetician shop. Sorry, Tina, if I'm not doing credit or naming that correctly. Jennifer Weir, Krista Hansen, Krista Barker, I remember her, Barbie Vino, Julie Ross, Melanie Elaine, Natasha Davis, Kara Cooper. Well, right on. And, you know, dancing and, you know, going to watch dance shows is something that I really enjoy doing, and I haven't done that in a long time, Raj. So thanks for sharing.
Yeah.
Roger always stressed and always put and showed the importance of the art form that dance is. And as we spoke last episode, Roger's in his mid-70s. He's still going out. He just recently was the top dancer at Saturday night's Knights of Columbus extravaganza. He didn't win the 50-50, folks, but people voted on him being the top dancer of the night, as he is most nights, I'm sure. Beaubear Islands.
Well, this is good news to people on the river that
Okay.
was about to happen.
Okay. For those people on the Miramichi River, especially in the Nelson area and Newcastle, you know very well about this place, Beaubear's Island, and it accessible at last. So Beaubear's Island has a history to it. I'm not too savvy as to what that history is, but it is a beautiful little municipal park. And to go over there and explore it, and I'm not going to lie to you, Raj, I'm just going to throw it out there right now. I have never been to Beaubear's Island. If I'm around this summer, my friend lives right across from there now. We are going to get on the kayaks and go over, and I want to visit that place. The history, I think there's an Irish history there. Don't quote me on that. Sorry for not knowing. Words of Survivor drove point home. I have no idea what this is all about.
Oh, this side here?
Okay, this side here.
Okay.
Words of Survivor drove point home.
Oh, no, it wasn't. That's not an article.
Oh, okay.
And the other side was showing where...
Oh, sorry. You know what, though? Why not just show a picture of some old dude mowing his lawn? Okay, oh yeah, this is on the Beaubear's Island. So Roger...
The second line here.
Yeah. Trips to the island proved to be popular, and this was from Bruce. Boat waits for dredging to get done. Okay, so Beaubear, despite a few minor hitches, the first weekend of boat rides to Beaubear's Island went over fairly well, says Terry Doyle, chairman of Beaubear Island's Historic Committee. The first trip was delayed for just over an hour because dredging work was still being done at the loading wharf. So the tours begin at Centennial Park opposite the Nelson Rural School and make the 5-minute trip across to the island. And apparently it's just a beautiful little place to go to. There's some boat doing some dredging. Or this thing, you know what I mean? I don't know what I'm talking about, folks. I got all mixed up there.
Oh, yeah.
But Beaubear's Island, check it out. I'll be over there at one point this summer, and hopefully we can meet up and say hello to each other.
So local pathfinders welcome a visitor pathfinder from far away.
Okay, so the Pathfinders, I think, was after Girl Guiding. It's one of those girl guiding
organizations.
Categories like Brownies, Girl Guides, and I think the Pathfinders were next. So here is, on the Miramichi, the local Pathfinders. We're going to tell you what happened here, who these people are, and what was going on. And Pathfinder from Nepal visits. Preeti Shea, a Pathfinder from Nepal, top center. That's her right here. Wow, she must have been like, where am I, folks? She must have been looking for a smelt fry, is all I can think of. Or some rabbit stew. Okay, so she poses on the steps of the Beaverbrook Civic Center with local Pathfinders left to right. We got Jennifer Brown, the son of Walter, and oh my God, I can't remember Walter's wife's name, but Timmy was the brother, Chris, great family. Heather Nason, she's the daughter of art teacher Terry Nason. Anne DePlacy, the leader. I was just talking to Anne's daughter the other day, and I'm going to be meeting her for coffee. Christina Murray, Andrea Bell, another great local athlete. Back row, left to right, Laureen Nason, Chatham Mayer, Rupert Bernard, Preeti Shea, as we just had mentioned, Kathleen Brown, she was the camp advisor, and Margaret Adams. So there is a great photo of some Pathfinders right there, folks. And there's Anne DePlacy right here, folks. Great photo, Raj. Thanks for sharing that one.
Well, that's out of our jurisdiction for
Okay.
Local stuff.
July 16th, 1988, Hollywood-style romance to end in royal-like wedding. Anybody in the hockey world or just in Canada that was around at that time remembers when Wayne Gretzky married Janet Jones, and they are still married today. They had lots of children, large family, and you know, Wayne... This was this is just at the time that he went and left the Edmonton Oilers and was with the LA Kings.
Yeah, he went down there.
Yep.
Okay. This is Kate Knowles.
Yeah.
And her son.
Yeah.
Got hurt in an accident, and he's become a painter.
Oh, wow.
And his painting was shown.
Oh, okay.
People.
Okay. It says, and this is an article from the July 20th, 1988 edition of the Miramichi Leader. It says self-taught, and I personally love artists that are self-taught. Bob Dylan is one of the best examples of that for me. Nobel Prize winning in literature, Mr. Bob Dylan. Never took a music lesson in his life. Okay, so look at this photo right here. Okay? And we'll give you a little bit of an explanation of what is going on here. Hurt in a crash, Knowles becomes a painter. You know, Johnny Knowles Sr. never picked up a paintbrush until just over 2 years ago. And today, as a self-taught artist, he has 28 oil paintings bearing his signature. He was born and raised in Chatham. He's 61 years old. On September 4th, 74, he was injured in a car accident, which left him a paraplegic. And Friday, he had 5 of his paintings on display during Irish Seniors Day at Mount St. Joseph in Chatham. The display was part of the Irish Festival. So right on. Roger and I are two guys that absolutely, positively recognize the importance of art in all facets of life. And that's a great story, Raj. I'd like to see some of his paintings, to be honest with you. Yeah. Johnny Knowles. I might try to look that up somehow.
Tackle that there if you want.
Okay. Is it this?
No.
Okay. So here's a great photo here. I think this is the Chatham Mayor, if I'm correct about that.
And Herbie Jenkins.
And Herbie Jenkins right here. He's a Logieviller. He's been around for a long time. He was a part of the Kingston's enterprise for many, many years. Chatham's Winter Carnival began Thursday and ends Saturday. Shell Canada and Kingston Fuels Limited donated a case of Olympic toques to the Winter Carnival Committee for prizes. Here, Chatham Mayor Rupert Bernard tries on one of the toques while Chatham Recreation Director Jocelyn Cahoon and Kingston's manager Herbie Jenkins look on. And there it is, folks. Right on. I see Herbie walking up the Logieville on the Shore Road almost every day when I'm going up to do some daily errands. And Herbie's a fine gentleman. I think he's left-handed too, if I'm not mistaken. He's over there playing cornhole on Friday nights. And Herbie, I'm going to tell you something right now. If next time I match up against you in a cornhole game, you are going down. But Herbie, you've always been a great guy, and our community really appreciates you, of course.
Very, very rare visitor to Chatham.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, look at that.
Sand crane.
Sandhill crane. I recognize that, Raj, because guess what? Out in Vancouver,
yeah.
I am lucky enough to see these birds often, and I can walk right up to them. So, it says, rare bird visits Chatham. That's a sandhill crane, and I'll tell you what, when you're standing next to one of those, they are they're 5 or 6 feet high. A rare sandhill crane made a surprise appearance Monday and Tuesday in Chatham. A wildlife expert speculated the crane was caught in a storm that blew into the province. Yeah, they're a really beautiful bird. That was from July 1988.
Okay, let's just do a pause for a second.
Okay, we're going to do a pause, and you know what? I think we are going to cease this part of 1988 right now. So thanks again for sitting here with us, for those people that are doing it. I am like having a great time here. It's been very good for me. Roger has been so excellent with his time and all of this stuff that he's collected and we're able to share. And I am getting a lot of responses from not only around the Miramichi, but some friends of mine on the other side of the country in Vancouver. They're asking about Uncle Raj. They can't wait to come to the Miramichi to visit and play some horseshoes with Raj and go dancing and build something and then go, you know, go talk some history or something like that. So we'll be back with part 2 of 1988, and you never know, we might just get some barley soup brewing here.